Eagles Nation. It's your boy Cool McCain in the building. Another week, another episode. Eagles Elite Podcast. So we won this past week. We won. We're going to talk about that. We got some drama happening on the team. Of course, we're going to talk about that. Injury updates, all that good stuff. You know, y'all know how we get down. But I do have to say, even though we're going to talk about it later, BG, you disappointed me, man. You really disappointed me. I don't know what came over you, what got in your mind, but you disappointed me, bro. You can't take that stuff to the media. But can't change time. It is what it is. Time to get to it. Got Eagles Diva. The fans in the building. Chilling, man. Chilling. No, we
talk about this game.
Among other things that happened because of this game.
Yeah, I know.
But hey, you know, it's part of it.
It wouldn't be Philly if we didn't have some drama.
Right. And it's always somebody you like, really, bruh? You did this? That's what we had now. But as you can see, Wyatt is not in the building tonight.
Nope.
So, hey, still got to talk about some news. So let's get to it. So, interesting piece of news, I say, regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. The NFL approved a sale of a minority stake in the Philadelphia Eagles. The minority stake was like 6%. The team was valuated at like $8.3 billion. He retains all rights, all control. It's just pretty much solid partners. He gets to get a big stack of money. Someone else gets a small percentage of ownership in the Philadelphia Eagles. Everything operates as it's been operating. So good move for whoever bought it's two family investors who purchased the small stakes in the team. So good move for them. Because now you're an NFL owner.
Mm-hmm.
Good move for Jeffrey Lurie because he gets they purchased it for $8.3 million. The team. No, that's right. I said it right the first time. I'm tripping. I got the article up. I'm saying one thing, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, that's right. So yeah, big ups to Jeffrey. I love when you're able to be a good businessman, still keep control, still do things that make sense. We'll put some more money that you can drop back either into the team or into your own pockets. And either way that you're doing that, to me, that's a very intelligent thing to do. Injury report. So we got the injury report out here. Reed Blankenship is back at practice, which is a good thing for us. Definitely somebody that we needed.
Definitely.
Yep. We had a couple people who didn't practice because of rest. That was Mekhi Becton and AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Mm-hmm.
Sidney Brown didn't practice, still with the knee issue. Landon Dickerson didn't practice. That was rest. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he didn't practice. That was rest. Lane Johnson didn't practice because of personal reasons. Darius Slay and Josh Sweat were rest. Reed Blankenship was limited, but he is back with the concussion situation. Jalen Carter with the shoulder was limited. Britton Covey with the neck was limited. Cooper DeJean rest. Nakobe Dean with his elbow practiced fully. And then Jalen Hurts has a left finger injury, but he practiced fully. Carter, Covey, and DeJean were all limited as well as Reed Blankenship. So just wanted to kind of make sure we're aware of what's happening. Nakobe Dean also full practice with his elbow. I did say that. Sorry, y'all. I want to make sure I don't leave anybody out. A lot of people banged up, but we're going into week 15 of the NFL season. So you're going to have some banged up players. So yeah, got some injuries there. I know why I usually talk about the roster moves, but what we're going to do is we're going to move on, but we're going to do things a little different, right? So V Lock is in the building. Vicala, what up, Vicala? He says, good evening, Eagles Elite. Sorry I haven't been able to catch you guys live. Good to see you guys. My brother Cool Breeze McCain.
Thank you for
Vicala,
tuning
always
in.
good to see you, man. Always good to have you here. So we had the updates. So now, y'all, it's time to get booked. And for those who are around, y'all know what that means. Well, it's time to get booked. So, intro time. We're going to come back and we're going to do this thing. Let's get it.
The kick is away, and the kick is it's gone! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
All right, Diva. Hey, we in the building. We here. So first thing we're gonna do, you know how we get down. We flip it up some weeks, but for the most part, we stay pretty consistent. Let's get the bad news out the way first. Eagles Diva. Who was your weakest link in this game?
Jalen Alexander Hurts was my weakest link.
Fair enough. So I thought about this, and I'm gonna say it. AJ Brown was my weakest link. AJ Brown was my weakest link because everything can be taken out of context. But he's sitting on the side. He done pulled Devontae Smith over there. All I see is look like they complaining. Just back and forth, just complaining.
Through his helmet.
Through his helmet. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the situation is what it's been made out to be, but some reckless and brash comments that happened when they shouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? Within the context of the game. Or after the game, within the context of the emotion still coming down, different stuff like that. You know, AJ's had a lot of games where he's played well for us, and that's cool. But I need AJ to hold it together when things aren't going his way too. I need that one. And that's why I'm going to make you my weakest link because, you know, performance-wise, you never be the weakest link. But attitude-wise this past week, you definitely could have been the weakest link. Could have had a worse effect than it did on the game. But, hey, we praise him when he's doing well. When he get in one of them situations while he's wilding, you got to hit him with the same thing.
I agree.
But I'm not upset with you picking Jalen either. Just so we're clear. All right. And who was your elite performer of the game?
Man. Jordan Davis. Y'all seen him running again after quarterback. My boy getting in there now. Jordan Davis has been playing amazing football lately.
Yeah, he really has. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say a guy that you can pretty much pick every week. But Quinyon Mitchell. And the reason I'm going to say him this week, you know, I haven't used him a lot because you can't, like I said, every week you really could. But I haven't used him a lot because I feel like when you're doing what you're supposed to do, you don't need to praise somebody for being the player that they're supposed to be. But, you know, they don't have, I feel like, a super duper number one in Carolina, but I feel like he did a good job of whoever they placed him on, right? So they were able to move him around. He was on Thielen for a while. He was on the Gift for some plays and different stuff. And I feel like he did a good job. I couldn't pick no play Slay because he did make some plays this week, but I will say when we're talking about weakest links, if Leggett makes the catch, we're having a different conversation right now. Either we're talking about a great Jalen Hurts comeback with not a lot of time yet, or we are blaming Darius Slay, rightfully so, for not winning the game. So I just had to throw that out there.
GJ could have went in there too because he basically said he jumped too early when we thought old boy caught the ball but didn't. Luckily, it hit the ground, so it wasn't a completed catch.
Yeah.
They both would have been weakest links on that. You know, CJ got one earlier, but that could have definitely almost ended the game for us.
Yeah, that could have been ugly. But yeah, I definitely agree, man. We've had a lot of great performances. You talk about guys like Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond. That linebacker duo is monster. And if you're not buying into the fact that both of them are playing well, you need to stop playing. Jalen Carter, like you said, that's a weak league dude to really play in there.
Nolan Smith been playing good. Josh Sweat actually been showing up.
Mm-hmm. He's having some growing pains, but Jalen Hunt is looking like a guy that's developing and getting better as the weeks go on. A lot of great performances, just momentary lapses on defense and not doing enough in the scoring department against teams we should be able to really go out and manhandle is my issues more so than any specific person's play. But hey, you're gonna talk about the good players. You also have to talk about those guys who ain't really getting it done, and we've definitely had some of them as well. Philly's in the building. She says, "What's going on, Eagles family?
What's going on, Philly?
You know we love to see you in the chat, and hey, all the people that watching. Hey, you got something you want to say? You disagree with us? You agree with us? Got something a question you want to ask? Light it up. Let's do it. You know
Make sure you're going over to YouTube, hit that like button because it's free 99 and it gets us in the algorithm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. And just if you're not clear where to go, that would be youtube.com/@Eagles Elite Podcast. Or just if you happen to already be on YouTube doing something else, you think about it, just go up to that search bar, Eagles Elite Podcast. You see your people pop up. Let's get it.
You knew it.
So it's a lot to talk about this game. It's a lot to talk about. It's a lot that happened because of this game too. But yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and roll things along because we don't always have to be here for a long time. It's a good time, if you get that reference. So week 14 review versus the Carolina Panthers. What are your thoughts on this game?
I feel like this game should have been a game that we got things together on both ends of the ball. I give the defense a pass this week because, every week they've been coming out and standing strong and holding us up until the offense can get something going. And you can't expect them to do that each and every game. Offense have got to start coming out and scoring in the first quarter, getting something on the board. And so they get a pass from me this week. But as far as that offense go, I think this is the worst we looked since that Tampa Bay game where we looked atrocious on the offense. But I really thought that this would be a time for us to really get going early in the game, put some points on the board, be in sequence with the defense, and that did not happen. Jalen Hurts looked horrible. I don't know what was going on, but he just looked so indecisive. The whole play with Devontae Smith, AJ Brown was wide open. So it was like he wasn't seeing who was open on the field. He was just throwing the ball. He was holding the ball way too long, way, way, way too long. And he just looked really indecisive. He didn't look like he was comfortable in the game at all on that game. And I thought that should have been a game that we saw our offense finally flourish into the offense we know they could be in the first quarter. Even though his stats look good, even though he had 3 touchdowns and he had that one big 35-yard run, and it still should have been played a lot better. And I blame somebody on the coaches because I don't know if it was just a mix-up between the coaches. I don't know if Nick was trying to, throw something in there. But it just did not look good on the offense. And I'm hoping that this week they really looked at that film because you can't do that next week. Sunday coming up, you can't do that. Like we have to learn how to start going in the first quarter. Got to figure it out some way, somehow. Poor Jake. I don't know what's going on with Jake. I can't just blame Jake because there's been a lot of kickers that have been missing field goals this year. Maybe it's just something with the field goal kickers this year. But Jake is 0-5, 50 yards plus. But boy, I need you to be out there to the lights cut off in the stadium, kicking 50, 53 yarders, 60 yarders like you used to be clutch, my boy. And you have not made one. You even missed a freaking field goal. And luckily it was a flag and we had to replay it. But you missed like a 30-yarder field goal. Like, dude, what are we doing here, Jake? Like what's really going on here, Jake? So I'm needing for Jake to go and be kicking all week long until the lights cut off in the stadium. Because that was horrible.
There's so many things that I gotta try to compartmentalize it so I don't just take the whole show talk about what we ain't do in this game. But I really could, like, for real. Special teams, I thought outside of the missed field goal, did a solid job. But boy, missed field goals can really, be something that hurts the team long term. Oh man. Jalen. Where do I begin? Some good runs, but I'm one of those guys that feels like if you're not having a good day throwing the ball, have a good day running the ball. And we ain't really get that either. Like, we got an okay day running the ball, but when you're having a bad day throwing the ball, you're indecisive with the throw, you at least got to use your legs because you are what we call a dual threat quarterback. My thing with Jalen is I need him to understand that will open things up for you as well. If you go out there and you start using your legs, you start running, then people are going to start saying, oh, this cat is out here running the ball. We have to spy him. We have to pay attention to the run. And that's when things, start to take off. So, a lot of people, there's two camps when it comes to him and playing this game. And one camp has been saying the same thing all season. Jalen Hurts sucks. He's not a starting quarterback. Blase this, blase that. Y'all can go sit on, as far as I'm concerned, all y'all can go sit on a cactus. So I'm tired of hearing that. You just go sit on a cactus. But statistically in this game, let's go there. I'm gonna give you both teams and you tell me what's good. All right, passing. Bryce Young, 19 of 34, 191 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Jalen Hurts, 14 of 21, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. Right, and that's just your rushing leader. So these are your leaders. Obviously, other people have had things for that. Chuba Hubbard, 26 carries, 92 yards, a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, 20 carries, 124 yards. Adam Thielen, 9 receptions, 102 yards. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 43 yards. While we're talking about the game, I do want to give Adam Thielen some props. And the reason I want to give him some props is he was able to use his veteran savvy to really work Cooper DeJean a couple of times, and obviously other guys in the defenses in our defense as well. Leggett only had 2 catches, but he averaged almost 20 yards a catch. So if he had a caught, and again, he dropped the ball, that really would have been a dangerous thing for us. Sacks, Josie Jewell got 1.5 sacks on us, right? DJ Wonnum got a sack. Ashawn Robinson got a sack and a half. We talk about a game where there wasn't a lot of pressure, but it felt like every time there was pressure, they got all the way to Jalen and sacked him. Every time. It felt like every time they had pressure, they sacked him. He just laid down almost and took the sacks. And that's a frustrating thing when you're looking at it from the perspective of the fans, right? He also had 8 rushes, 59 yards, and a touchdown. So he had a touchdown, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground. He was responsible basically for all the touchdowns. Our receiving leader, A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 43 yards. Devontae Smith and Grant Calcaterra got the touchdowns. Smitty also had 4 receptions for 37 yards. So we was like, we want Jalen to spread the ball around. But when we say spread the ball around, we mean actually throw it to somebody that's on your team when they're open. and not just sail the ball to non-specified areas. Jaden's just, I don't know. There's so many things you could point to. His footwork, his body language was terrible. You know, he wanted to cry the whole game. Like, you know, it's just, he didn't look like himself, right? And then you overthrew Johnny Wilson, who was like 6'5", right?
Right.
Literally, I mean, the throw actually wasn't bad. It was just too high. But when you're overthrowing a guy that's 6'5", Jalen, we got to focus, my boy. We got to focus. Zach Bond got a sack. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. Zach Bond got a sack. So Zach Bond got a sack. CJ GJ got a pick. Nakobe Dean had 9 total tackles. Zach Bond had 6. Darius Slay had 5. Eugene had 5. Everybody else, if they got them, they had 3 or less. Right? My issue is aggression against a team that you really should go out there and work. Chuba Hubbard was basically the only back after halfway through the first quarter. He was the only back they had left. Why is this man still getting 92 yards for the touchdown? For real, like, you know what I'm saying? Eat this dude up. It should be a lot more tackles for loss. It should be less yards for him and a lot more dudes with more tackles. Eat this dude up when he get the ball.
Well, we forgot how to tackle some odd reason.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do that all the time in games. Diva talks about this every week. Wyatt talk about it when he here. Key, whoever talk about it when they hear. The biggest concern I have, the biggest issue, the biggest complaint for me is always very simple. We've allowed ourselves to become stagnant. I say last week, I'm going to keep saying the rest of the season. And, you know, we clinched the playoff spot. So as long as we're alive in the playoffs, we are who we are. At this point, I don't expect us to come out and figure out how to score in the first quarter. You've had 14 games, 15 weeks to figure it out. And I think we only figured it out once, and that was because the Giants fumbled the ball after we couldn't get a first down, and then we were able to punch it in. We need to score in the first quarter, but we're not going to. So what that means is defense, y'all have got to show up heavy in the first quarter. Y'all have got to carry us heavy in the first quarter because we've proven that whatever is going on, we can't score consistently in the first quarter. Not in the first drop, the first quarter. We're playing against the Carolina Panthers and we don't even score a field goal in the first quarter. Right? So we can sit here and say, oh, we this, we that, we're going to be this, we're going to be that. But the truth of the matter is we are who we are. And I don't like to sit here and look y'all in the face and say that here on the show, but I got to be honest. I mean, it's not costing us wins because we're playing a lot better the other 3 quarters, but you never know what's going to happen down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I don't know if there's some secret things we're trying to save until later or whatever it is that we're supposedly trying to do. But what I can tell you is points to the first quarter would be nice. They would.
With the caliber offense that we have, yeah. Should be no reason why we're not scoring points. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of the play calling and Jalen Hurts just not really. Sometimes I don't think sometimes you can tell he's reading what the defense is giving him and he takes it, but sometimes he doesn't. And then the other thing that I keep complaining about is he doesn't know how to use the pocket. Like you see some quarterbacks, if they're in the pocket, they maneuver around in the pocket. Jalen would just stand in one spot and try to wait for somebody to get open, holding the ball for like 3 minutes and then wonder why he gets sacked. And they asked him that today and they was like, are you holding the ball? Do you think you're holding the ball? He was like, yeah, I'm holding the ball too long. Something I got to work on. Bruh, you've been holding the ball all season too long. Like that's something you need to work on now, like yesterday, and figure it out. Like maneuver around in the pocket. Like you see Lamar do it. You see Bryce do it. Like he'll run a little bit, and even if he got to run forward, he'll still throw the ball. Like you don't always have to just run the ball. You can run forward, move around to somebody get open, use your feet as an advantage and the pocket as an advantage. He'll either roll back or just stand there. Like that's the only 2 things he do in the pocket. Why? Like learn how to use the pocket to your advantage. If you're going to sit in the pocket, you're not going to run. You don't always have to run for the first down. Just move around so they're not trying to get to you. luckily he did escape a few times, but that's not always gonna work. It looks like he's a little like his step a little slower than it was 2 years ago because Jalen used to be out, like gone. So that's my problem I have with Mr. Hurts. And just sometimes not seeing people that are open that could be easy catches. Like I'm glad Devontae caught that, but AJ was wide open over there by himself, and he did not see him.
See, the other thing that's got to happen too, though, is AJ got to stop melting down when those things happen.
He did.
Right? Because it happens to everybody. There's not a quarterback that doesn't miss open people. You know, we talk about a lot because we Eagles fans, we have a lot of groups of other Eagles fans. A lot of people have a lot to say because we're doing well, so they still want to hate. But even when you're looking at like any quarterback, they miss them. But what a lot of the top receivers in the league do that AJ doesn't seem to do consistently is sight. Yeah, you know, we got to be better on the offense, but you know, that's my guy. That's my son's godfather. That's my guy. We gonna get it together. We didn't get that from AJ. We got helmet throws, whining and complaining, baby temper tantrums on the side. You know, and you try to defend your wide receiver one and say, hey, this and that. And this doesn't happen all the time. But I need you to be just as focused on the game, just as happy, just as smiling, just as professional when these games happen as you are when you're getting 100 yards, when you're the main focus of the offense. I'm gonna need to see the same energy in both situations if your goal is for the team to win. The one thing that Jalen Hurts said probably 20 times in that 8-minute interview was team first, winning, team first, winning. And I gotta give him that. He's not focused on what's happening. They've been saying, oh, do you feel like it's because Saquon is getting so many carries, trying to cause a divide there? What does Jalen Hurts say? Well prepared for the media. The offense has changed.
It's dynamic. It's a different dynamic to it than it was. And that's true.
It's changed from the first 4 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Me, my sister here, and all the other people that understand football are saying this. Okay, you only have 20 passes. Why do you have 108 yards? Why aren't we getting some guys thrown open where they can get some yak? Because we're not expecting you to throw the ball down the field all day. That's what people want, but that's not realistic. But yak, if you get a ball to Devontae Smith where he still can run, not when he got tiptoe on the sideline and drag his feet behind him to keep the ball in bounce, or Johnny Wilson where he ain't got to jump 10 feet in the air and still miss it, then they can get the ball and then they can move the ball down the field with their legs after they catch it.
Well, the thing is, we don't have any creative plays. Like, the passing plays are not creative. It's just Jalen throwing the ball to who he sees open. It's not anything that we created. Like, we had that one slant route that we used that I was like, wow, we finally used a slant route, and that was to AJ Brown. But we don't use creative passing plays. It's just like, okay, well, Jalen, if you see him open, throw it down the field. If you see him open. Like, it's not creatively woven into the offense.
Yeah. I honestly, we don't have any creative running plays either. It's just that
Saquon, who he is.
Yeah, Saquon is so good with it that it don't even matter. But yeah, we don't even really see anything there either. If we're being 1,000% honest, like it's
bland. It's so bland. It's not even funny. That thing ain't got no salt in it. No really salt, pepper, no onion powder, no nothing.
Nope, ain't got no salt, no pepper, no onion powder, no paprika, no Lowry seasoning salt, no steak seasoning, no beef bouillon. You know what I'm saying?
No, nothing. No seasoning at all. It's just straight bland.
It's bland. It's like they just took the meat and just cooked it. Ain't marinated in nothing. I do agree that I feel like the offense is a lot of that, but you have so much spectacular talent that they can make a couple of plays. But I mean, I still feel like there's a battle for who's running the offense, and I get that. But at the end of the day, Kellen, when you have your opportunities, hey, give us some of the things that we've seen from your offenses before. I'm not asking you to go out and do nothing I hadn't seen before. I'm asking you to be the dude in some cases that we saw before. You had Justin Herbert last year. You did better than this. You had Randy Prescott for years. You did better than this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen, you to blame too. AJ, you to blame. Devontae, you to blame because y'all be in and out the lineup hurt. Your mind be in the game sometimes you're not. You know what I'm saying? And then Jalen, you got to get these other guys more shots. And then if he's mad because he's only getting 5 catches, but we're throwing for 250, 300 yards, then he need to go to guard and get that straight. But this week, if you got A.J. Brown in fantasy, you better start him because the squeaky wheel always gets the oil. If you had Devontae Smith, you're going to send him down. Because that ball is going to 11, 10 plus times this game, I guarantee it. Y'all done asked Kellen Moore about 10 times. He up there in the press conference talking about, we're always working on ways to get guys the ball more, and we're always taking feedback from everybody. Kellen Moore sound like he gets slapped around in the meetings. That's what he sound like. I'm not saying he really do get slapped around, but he sound like he gets slapped around in meetings by what he come out and say to the media.
This seemed like this about to be a Nick Sirianni play calling game. Because we know Nick love to throw that ball down the field to his wide receivers. It's like Nick gonna take over this game.
Nick gonna be like, Steve Kellen, I told you, man, we got to get the ball to AJ more. Yeah. AJ, yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is scary.
But we're gonna hope that logic and sense prevails. We're not gonna expect it, but we're gonna hope. So before we take our first break, Diva, any other thoughts on this game?
No, man. I mean, it kind of went like I said it was. I mean, I felt like it was a trap game, and it almost was a trap game. And I just felt like they really didn't think the Carolina Panthers were going to come out and play, which I don't know why, because they've been playing the last 3 games just like they played us on Sunday. I mean, they are getting better. Bryce has found his spot. He's no longer hurt because Tyree Maxey took his girl, and he came to Philly. He was like, "Yeah, I'm about to make y'all pay," and that's what he tried to do, and he almost did it. But I do got to give shots out to Bryce, because when AJ went down, they said my man was on the sideline. He went into his darn what's up, boy? Jameis Winston mode and started praying for CJ GJ when CJ said he got hit in the behind.
Man, CJ GJ got hurt. I was up there like, man.
He said Zach Bond hit him in the behind. He said that thing hurt, man.
If you look at all the things that's happening with this squad, man, you like, yo, we one injury or safety away from being trouble now.
We really,
you know what I'm saying? But Reed is back, so back, not black, but back, so that helps. And I don't think we played our best anywhere, right? But we won, and that's the thing that happens when teams are having a really good season. We can get on here and complain about what we saw on the field, but what we can't complain about is that we lost because of it. We found a way to overcome and still win the game. We missed the 50-plus yard field goal. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts missed a lot of plays that could have had helped him be more efficient when he was asked to pass the ball. Saquon didn't really have a go off that game, right? He didn't go off.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he got us down in decent places. Hurts completed a couple of touchdowns. But no one on offense really was getting it this game. There wasn't a player on offense that you like, yeah. You know, we could have had 5 people up here and we couldn't have really talked about anybody offensively that could have been the elite performance besides maybe Saquon. But for him, those numbers he had were pedestrian. Right. For him. You know what I'm saying? One-dimensional game. It happens. But we'll go ahead and take our first break. I'm back, and we're going to have a little discussion, a little powwow. And I can tell you one thing, I've got the right person with me for this discussion. So y'all be ready. We gonna be ready. It.
Rams fans all around the world.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Rams fan right now. Stafford's back. We're gonna see about Cup. And running back Kyren Williams to a return.
Lend me your ears, or should I say lend Playmaker your ears, as he breaks down week by week everything in the Los Angeles Rams canon.
Number 99, Aaron Donald. Can't wait for 2029 to come.
to know that you are going in the Hall of Fame, and it should be first ballot, no questions asked.
Join the Playmaker as he breaks down everything Los Angeles Rams style in Ramily Talk on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel and where you can find podcasts. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. You want your Commanders to be repped right? Well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report. Every Tuesday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern, 10:05 a.m. Central on the Sotoba Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Left side.
Join Ryan McCarthy.
I became a Jets fan because Kermit the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
And Dustin Henry.
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
As they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on YouTube and where you can find podcasts. Hey, Eagles fan, join.
Now that right there was off the wall. One more, y'all. One more.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text. Delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sotoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
All right, we are back, and shout out to 502 Angel Radio, where you can catch broadcast of Eagles Elite Podcast. So, Diva, we had a little interesting couple of days here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, make sure I get the timeline right. If I don't, please feel free to correct me. BG. Well, gotta go back. So we had a game. We talked about AJ, everything. After the game, AJ basically said the problem is the offense with the pass, right? Which I don't think that's entirely the problem. I think the play calling has become too, I want to say safe. I think we're in the let's not show anybody anything until playoffs mode. Well, how about we try to get a number one seed? Let's show a little bit. Let's try to get a number one seed. All right. Then
I think too, AJ's used to always getting the ball, and we have been running the ball a lot. And I think he's just a little bit bitter that, we're having to run the ball, spread the ball. Calcaterra got, I think he had a lot more catches, maybe close to a little more catches than AJ. So I think AJ get a little jealous because we know AJ always wants the ball, and Devontae Nim always wants the ball. So I just think this has been brewing. I don't think it was just because of this game specifically that made AJ come out and say something. But yeah, Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. So there's that. Yep. We also, after that, they also talked to Devontae Smith, who had some less than positive comments about the offense. He didn't go as far as to at least make it seem like he was singling out his QB, but he also was unhappy with the pass distribution rate, things of that nature. And they should be, because these are guys that are top receivers, right? So you want the ball, but you just don't want them to get too wild and too
I mean, both of y'all been hurt with them hamstrings, though.
Yeah.
Y'all was getting the ball pretty consistently until y'all started getting hurt. Now, AJ
Right.
had a hamstring and he had a knee that we didn't know about. Me and you didn't even know he was going out the game.
Right. And we were sitting there watching the game. So the thing is, you got a lot of little bangs up and injuries, and people are starting to realize that's where the ball goes. So they're starting to adjust, their defensive play calling to try to take out of the game.
Yeah.
And it's like y'all forgot that does happen.
Yeah.
I just, got crazy.
And I don't know how Smitty forgot he got knocked out in the Saints game, but hey,
right. And then you just got back that week from a hammy. So then BG comes out on his show. I'm gonna paraphrase. He's basically saying that, AJ and Jalen used to be friends, that their professional relationship is affecting their personal relationship, and they have to be men and talk about it and get things straightened out. And that if Smitty has some issues, that the same thing needs to man up and go talk about it and hash things out and not be saying stuff in interviews. Saying all this stuff on his podcast, on his show, not in behind closed doors. So that sparks the conspiracy theory that AJ and Jalen are not friends anymore, and because of what happens on the field, it affects them off the field. And until today, we didn't get AJ Brown coming out and just say, "Hey, me and Jalen good." Yeah, I wasn't happy about how things went down, but maybe should handle it differently. And sometimes it takes different people a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to chill and come down from that anger plateau. We're gonna take
I don't think it didn't help that AJ, when they were like, well, they asked him, they was like, so what are your conversations like with Jalen when this happens? He was like, it ain't much of none. Like that didn't help him saying that. He could have been like, well, yeah, I need to go talk, because he should have went over there and talked to him. You know what I'm saying? Like him and Devontae was over there talking and yipping and yapping, but
yeah, they was
saw Jalen on the other end of the bench with that dumb look on his face, already knowing, like he should have went over there and talked to him.
Yeah. Lil G Griffith says, I'm a big fan of the Eagles 2024 season. Better Eagles beat Steelers. Eagles 27, Steelers 20. I don't even want to be that close, Lil G.
Right.
But it might be around somewhere around that close if we're actually going to win the game. Then so you have that. So you have today, AJ's kind of said something. Devontae really ain't say too much, so he ain't really got to backtrack too much. And that's the smart thing about not saying too much. You don't have to do too much backtracking. Jalen has basically said, if you read between the lines on his press conference today, he was basically like, sometimes things that happen on the field affect you. You just got to figure it out. He loves to take responsibility. And I got to be honest with you. Every time I see his interview and he says, I take responsibility for that, I just want to go through the TV and just punch him in the nose. Like, for real. Like, I'm all about taking responsibility. I get that. But you keep saying it and ain't spit changing. I need some change with the responsibility. I've been, I always take my time and I look at what's going on and, I try to adapt and this and that. I don't believe you. Either you're stupid or you're really not. And you're not stupid, so you can't be doing that. Every week, we get on this show. I get on NFC Beast. Saturdays, 9 p.m. Right here, Elite channel, by the way, too. And I get on Birds Deep tomorrow, 6 p.m. Thursday, 6 p.m. Also, my Eagles Elite podcast. Just throw it out there. I get on these shows and talk about QB1 and how I feel like he's being hindered and he's not taking enough into himself and he's not going against the grain. He's not. But I feel like up until this past week, I could at least make an argument. Hey, he's out there playing well. He's just not been given a lot. Past week, you had Devontae back. You had AJ. I don't think Saquon caught. Let me look. Because I got the stats.
Saquon only had like 9 carries in the first quarter, I do believe. You ain't using much.
Saquon didn't catch a ball. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be a dual threat weapon, so we needed him a little bit in the passing game sometime. Yeah, he only had 20 carries in total, which I'm good with total carries, right? But we need to. Gainwell only had 3. Hurst had 8. And I say only have 3 because that's the guy that they're going to use. I would prefer, of course, if we use Shipley. But if you're going to have a backup running back, he needs more than 3 carries. Whoever that's going to be 3 carries is unacceptable. For a guy that's supposed to be your backup, and we're in a league where you need 2 guys to run. You need to give Saquon some breaks. You need to give them a change of pace. Because as a change of pace from Saquon, Gainwell has actually done fairly decent this season. Yeah, I can't call him no Gainwell. He doesn't Gainwell anymore. I think Shipley could do more, but that's a story for next season because it's not going to happen this season. But in this entirety of this situation, we kind of talked, but let's go a little bit into it. Devontae, AJ, during the game, their interviews after the game. What are your thoughts on that part, Diva?
I mean, I just felt like AJ shouldn't have said what he said, or I mean, he really shouldn't have said how he said it. Like I said, it didn't help that he, said, well, the passing game is basically trash. And they asked, well, are you talking to Jalen about it? And he was like, nah. So they were like, no, we ain't got much to talk about. And to me, that's what you don't do. And AJ, anytime you say something, it gets blown out of proportion. So for you to say what you said, the way you said it, you couldn't expect for it not to, on top of all we kept seeing on the sideline was you and Devontae like agitated and going back and forth about you being agitated. And then when they go over look at Jalen, he got this dumb look on his face. And I don't see Jalen going over there to his wide receivers talking to him about it. And I don't see them going over to their quarterback and saying, hey, look, man, get us more involved. A, B, C, and D, whatever, whatnot. I don't see him talking to the coaches about it. So to go on national TV after, even though we didn't lose, we could have, but we didn't. And to say those statements the way AJ could have worded a lot better than what he said. I understand he was upset that he really didn't get the ball that game. Cool. But you gotta tread lightly with media because media loves to bring drama inside of Philly's locker room, and they're good for doing that. And so then you got BG going on there. You know what I'm saying? And so I know you guys were upset, but I just would be like, well, look, we won the game. We might not have got as many, catches that we wanted to get today, but we won the game. That's all that matters. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, I have a lot of the same issues. Also, body language. I'm big on body language and what you let people see that they can use against you. AJ, you're an emotional dude. I get it, good and bad. That's what it is. But at the same time, you and Devontae, you got to support number one. And that's where my biggest issue is. Where's the support? Even if you want to say, yeah, passing game is a problem, but we're going to get it worked out. We ain't play our best today. Jalen didn't play his best today. It happens. It's football. We still won the game. We're going to flush this and we're going to move on to next week. That's the type of things I want to hear the guys who are supposed to be, your leaders in a locker room say. Guys who are supposed to be important to the team. As one of the better players, AJ, whether you want to be or not, you're a leader on a team. So what you got to see on your jersey or not, you're who people looking at. And like Diva said, no matter what he does, the scrutiny is coming. So help us help you as the organization. Help us help you and just don't make bad choices. That's all I'm saying. Just don't make bad choices. Be smart in what you're doing. When you're talking to me, take a second. When they come up to you, if you're not ready yet, just say, let me get a few minutes and then I'll talk to you. compose yourself. Think about how you're going to answer questions. And I mean, I get what you're saying from the perspective of AJ saying, nah, ain't really much to talk about. It's not much to talk about because they already understand with each other. Like, we need to spread that ball around. You got to be better, bro. But when you're saying it, it's the way you say it. He's like, nah. You talk to him much to talk about. I understand what you're saying, but when you're speaking to the media, you have to explain yourself. Like, yeah, it's not really a lot of conversation that needs to be had. These are things we talked about before. It just wasn't a good performance today. The way you said it, you open it up. Then, speaking about opening it up, Brandon Graham's podcast or radio show. Thoughts on what Brandon Graham said?
I don't think Brandon Graham should have took it as far as saying, they used to be friends and now they're not. I just think that was, that was taken a little too far. He could have just kind of spoke on the situation lightly and kept it moving forward. But to like go into deep and, even if there is a little bit of distance between them right now, I don't think that should have been spoke about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and it could be, we don't know, but I don't think that should have been spoke about on national television, radio, whatever you want to call it. I think that he should have just kind of traded around that and just kind of spoke on, well, Jalen had a bad game and, but they brothers, they gonna get it together. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, to like go into depth and say that and then add more fire to the fuel, because then after you said that, here comes McNabb and T.O. Listen, that beef just reignited again almost 20-something years later of T.O. and McNabb going back and forth about if you got a problem, just come to me and talk about it. So that just sparked another drama that had in Philly almost 20 years ago. BG, he started a whole fire.
Comments. And I was like, figure, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Why is you talking? What is wrong with you? But yeah, I agree with what you said. Only thing I'll add to that is simply this. BG, disappointment. And I said at the start of the show, disappointment. You've been around long enough where I expect you to do better than that. That's something I would expect from a young player who ain't really understanding what it is. I get it, you just kind of talking, and sometimes you get to talking, your mouth get loose, and you start saying things, but I need you to think too. You are still leading that locker room. You said you can come back and play another year. We didn't talk about that in the news, but he did say this past week he's going to come back and play another year. He want to have a full campaign for his last year. So we're going to get BG in 2025. So that's a good thing, I think, for the team, the way he was playing before the injury. But I just need you to be careful in how you say things and what you put out. Some of that could be your observation. But the thing is, BG, you're not there. If Jalen over AJ house, if they hanging out, going to eat outside of work, you're not with them. So you don't know how their relationship is. They may not talk as much in the building, but you don't know how those men are outside of that. So you can't really go into that like that. You know what I'm saying? So be careful, man. Just be mindful of how you portray things to the media, because they're going to take it and run with it, and they mince your words a little bit, and they're going to eat, so you can't give them nothing. You gave them a little something. Actually, you gave them a lot. And they ran with it.
Yeah. On top of starting the other beef, igniting the other beef.
Run for it, run. That was going hard with it. But, I mean, it's just something that has to happen. Sometimes when things get out it's not supposed to, it starts to gel everything together. AJ said they're good. He don't have no problem with Jalen. He was just frustrated, again, paraphrasing. But at the same time, be mindful, because Jalen doesn't seem to be a guy, either he don't really care or things hurt his feelings, so he has an aloofness so he don't get in his feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those two. It's got to be. Because, I mean,
it's one or the other.
They be dogging him, and he be saying the same stuff, and I'm like, bruh, if you say that you got to get better one more time, it's your responsibility one more time, I just want to put some baby
powder. Or it starts with me one more time.
Starts with me one more time. I just want to put some baby powder. No, not on my hand. I want to put some baby powder on Shaq's hand. And then some baby powder on Kawhi's hand. And I want to back-to-back slap you with them big old paws for that mess. I'm tired of hearing what you need to do. I want to see some action, bro.
Right.
Show us the guy that we had. And you ain't got to be the 2022 Jalen Hurts every game, but show us that he's still in there. Show us that wasn't a fluke. I know it wasn't a fluke, but you got to show us. You know what I'm saying? You got a whole fan base over here believing you, bro. Tough times and all. You got some people that's going to hate, right? I'm going to just put it out there. I ain't never said this on the show. Some people don't like you because you're black. You're a black quarterback in Philadelphia, so you already have a portion of the fan base that's just not going to like you because of that. Right? Then you got you were the reason that Carson Wentz was jettisoned. So there's still some people that's got some upsetness over that with you. And a lot of those are the same people.
Well, Carson Wentz was Carson Wentz's biggest enemy.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you got people that's going to blame Jalen because they don't want to say that Carson Wentz is bad because he used to hunt, wear camouflage, those things. So they like that type of quarterback versus this guy. Let's be real. It's out there. But then you have some people that just don't believe that you have the skills to be an NFL quarterback for whatever reason, or a quality NFL quarterback. At any mistake that you make, anything bad that you do, they're going to jump on it. All those people, it is what it is. You got a lot of people that's going to love you irregardless. You got people that's going to be like us, and when you doing well, we going to stand up for you. But when you not, we got to come for you too, bro. Don't make us come for you. Play well, we got to come for you.
I mean, because all I keep hearing and seeing that you have a high football IQ, and I just feel like a lot of stuff you're doing right now is not showing us that you have that high football IQ, my boy.
This is low football IQ stuff.
Very low.
You got that looking like Achilles Smith. You know what I'm saying? Quincy Carter and players, and you way better than that. So
way better.
So finish up things. We just gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Week 15. Steelers preview. This is what I'm gonna say about the Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, well-coached team. Mike Tomlin's gonna have that team prepared offensively and defensively. He is a defensive-minded coach, but hey, he's gonna go to his offense and say, "Look, man, we need a little bit more of this. We need a little bit less of this. These are the type of things." And I'm sure you're seeing this too, but just to make sure we have a conversation that they do well and that they don't do well, let's try to make them do the things that they don't do well defensively, and the same thing with the offensive coordinator, because that's what a head coach does. Okay, he don't go say, "Let me script the first 15 plays on defense because I'm a defensive focused head coach." No, you here to coach the defense, you coach the defense. You here to coach the offense, you coach the offense. I will slide in some thoughts, some suggestions, but I want you to do what I brought you here for. You hire the offensive coordinator to coach the offense. You hire a defensive coordinator to coach the defense. Why not let them do the job? That's what we need Nick Sirianni to do. So when you could look at coaching and offensive adjustments, you've got to get an edge to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to. Because they got a guy that doesn't miss the playoffs much and hasn't had a losing record as a head coach. This is the type of guy that you want. We got Nick Sirianni. Some games it looks like he kind of backs up and lets the Kellen Moore do his thing, but some games it's like a little bit too much of the Sirianni stuff, waiting down the field, trying to wait for long routes to distribute themselves and become open. Gadget plays that make no sense. There are gadget plays that do make sense. There's this thing called a flea flipper. Right, Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore. Let me break that down for you real quick. You hand the ball to the running back. You had the wide receivers run deep routes, at least two of them. You might have two deep and you might have two crossing, right? You can use tight ends in this as well, because I know we only use 3 receivers really, if that. And the running back runs a few steps like he's going to run the ball, turns around and puts the ball back to the quarterback. And because he took those few steps like he's going to run the ball, what happens? The defense starts to collapse. You find whoever's open, and you give them that ball. That's the kind of plays we want. We don't want you sitting in the pocket for 10, 15 seconds trying to wait for somebody to get open down the field. That never has worked in the NFL and never will. End around. You know how you really do it end around? You fake the hand off to one person and hand it off to the other person. Or you hand the ball off to one person and have them toss it to the other person and go around the other way. Yeah, that's the type of things that you do. Trying to do things to get outside. And those plays normally work when it ends up going to the long side of the field because there's more room for the guys to run around. I've never coached football, but I know that. So if I know that, I'm going to need y'all to know that. And I'm going to need y'all to be better at the play calling. I'm not asking you to pull all your tricks out now, but you got to pull something different out because what we're continually doing these next 4 games, yeah, Dallas looks bad. We know the Commanders are up and down, but they look solid. The Giants, it's a division game, and then we got the Steelers game. That's our last 4 games. These 4 games are going to determine we in the playoffs, but they're going to determine if we are a wild card, if we're the 1 seed, if we stay at the 2. Because we're not going to be 3 or 4 because those teams are too bad. So we're either going to be 1, 2, or maybe 6, 7. It all depends on what we do in the next 4 games. And I do believe we're going to have to play every week. I ain't going to be no resting people week 18. I do believe we're going to need that. But before we get there, we got to fix the problems that we got. And we got to look at this game. Block everything else out, everything that's happened, everything that will happen this week. And you got to focus on the game plan in the game. Show something different against the Steelers team. Catch them off guard. Screen passes work, especially the Dallas Goddard. They always have. But when you do the screen pass, why don't we do it to the side that doesn't have Devontae Smith? Because if you have Devontae Smith out blocking, you might as well have a ragdoll out blocking.
I mean, really. I don't even know why they still do that.
So let's make sure the right personnel is in. That's a Johnny Wilson play, right? I'd even rather have Britton Covey out there. You feel me? That's not a Devontae Smith play. Don't call that to Devontae Smith's side. I don't see we don't even call it when he's on the field. But if he is on the field, make sure somebody else over there with him. You know what I'm saying?
Please do.
Yeah, don't put him out there as the lead blocker.
But put Jahan Dotson over there with him or something.
Right. Let him just fall down and somebody jump over him. Something. And somebody else be there to actually block. But no, like, be different. Do some things you need. Throw him the ball on a little bubble screen with a couple of blockers and see what he could do. Also, on these RPO plays, Jalen, we have to make quick decisions because what's happening is you're taking too long. We're getting penalties because when you take too long, the linemen say, well, it must be a running play. So they're downfield blocking. That's a penalty every time you throw the ball in that situation. So you've got to make a quicker decision in the RPO if you're going to run or pass. I like more runs out of the RPO. And if you're going to do the pass, that needs to be quick and decisive.
Very quick.
You can't wait 5 seconds to throw that ball. You're gonna get
1, 2, 3.
And that's any quarterback in the league. You can't wait that long because your linemen don't know what's happening. They don't know if it's a run. They don't know if it's a pass. If they don't see a quick pass, they're assuming it's the run. They're starting to block. Because a run, you can block 20 yards down the field. A pass, you can't block but 5. So those penalties might not be called on you, but a lot of those are your fault too. Just fix this stuff, man. Fix these things, and we got a great chance to beat the Steelers team. They're gonna put in some work on us. This Pittsburgh Steelers team is not laying down for us or nobody else in the NFL. And as you can see, because they're 10-3 now, I think.
10-3.
They're winning games.
You really gotta understand, Russell Wilson really was disrespected for a whole 2 years. And you think he is Russell? You think that he is not trying to prove that he is not still the same quarterback he was in Seattle? I'm just saying, like, Russell was disrespected for 2 years straight. My boy's been out here rolling, shaking and moving and bobbing like he did in Seattle, like, 8-9 years ago. So on top of having Mike Tomlin, actually got a good coach. So, you know what I'm saying? It makes a difference. So we definitely got to go out here. Defense, you gotta wrap up. Like, it ain't no missed tackles and grabbing at people's jerseys and just grabbing at them. We need to go back to that. Pick them up and drive them in the ground. That's how you tackle. Tackle them at the legs and make sure you hold on to the legs and stop them dead on. So y'all got to be on it. You really do. You got to put pressure on Russell Wilson because we barely had any pressure on Bryce. And Bryce ain't number like 5'10". Russell Wilson
5'10".
ain't too much taller than Bryce. Okay.
5'10". Maybe his hair 5'10".
So
He got it puffed out, maybe.
yeah. Well, that's what they say. They say it was 5'10", so I don't know. But y'all
That
really
sounded
got to
like
be on it.
when I was playing D3 basketball, and they said I was 6'2", and I was like,
You know, Russell Wilson can run now. He be out there looking like Lamar Jackson sometimes. So you got to play him like Lamar Jackson.
The key with Russell Wilson on defense, y'all, make that man get a ball up, because he will get that ball up. He will throw picks and he will fumble. So punch. This is, we talk about games and punching the ball out. This is the one. Try to punch the ball out from Russell Wilson.
And make sure you get on the ball. Because y'all had so many punches in that Baltimore game that y'all did not get on. Please make sure you get on that ball. Okay. Offense. Listen, Jalen, it starts with you, my boy. It really does. It starts with you. It starts with you moving, maneuver. If you're going to sit in the pocket, maneuver the pocket. Use it to your advantage. Don't just sit in one spot or roll back 20 to 10 yards. Move around. You can move around. You can maneuver the pocket. You ain't got to just sit there, but just move around, my boy. Like I said, you can run up 5 yards, wait for somebody to get open and throw them the ball. Like, you ain't got to just sit there. So it starts with you. Starts with you making better decisions and being confident about decisions you're making, because that's why you're holding the ball so long, is you're just not confident about what you're about to do with the ball, whether you're about to run it or whether you're about to throw it down the field. You're just not comfortable. So I need for you to get comfortable and trust in yourself and what you're doing. You're a great quarterback, always have been. It starts with you, man. All right. If they're not out there creating plays for you that you feel comfortable, do what you feel comfortable with. We fully trust you with this offense to do what we have seen you do for the past 5 years now going on. So please, my boy, just do what you feel is best and make the decision, and not, well, should I do what coach told me to do, or should I do what I think is best? You out there, you do what's best. All right. If that play is not going to work for you, you don't feel comfortable with it, you have all the power to all but the play. That's all you got to do. And just get the ball out, man. That's all I have.
Stop overthinking.
Yes.
Trust your reads. Trust what you've been doing your whole life. And just go out there and play. Don't worry about how it looks. Don't worry about the timing. You sit back. You got an internal clock. You know what I'm saying? You know what you need to count the seconds where somebody's supposed to be. Let it rip.
Right.
But don't go Donovan McNabb. And Donovan McNabb always got something to say about Jalen Hurts. But don't go Donovan McNabb and keep overthrowing and underthrowing people. Don't do that. Because the real reason that we get some more Super Bowls to win, Donovan McNabb was out there throwing the ball in the dirt and overthrowing people in critical situations. So while you talking McNabb, remember them dirt throws and remember them overthrows in critical NFC championship games. And in the one Super Bowl we got to. Well, just gonna throw that out there because I'm hear a lot of Donovan McNabb got something to say about everybody else. But Jake, I know they done messed you up with this, not using you and taking your confidence away, but you gotta get it back, bro. I have full confidence you will, and you're gonna do what you need to do for us. You've been doing it, so show up for us the rest of this season, and it's all good. Ain't nobody even worry about what you missed. Vic, I would ask, pivotal situations, if you're going to go to zone, make sure that you have the personnel on the field that can run with the wide receivers. If you're going to go man, make sure you have the personnel on the field in game losing or winning situations that can run with the receivers. If they can no longer run, for whatever the reason, how about we exit them from the field for that play or that series? Because we're trying to win games, not appease egos. And sometimes y'all do a little bit less of the first and a little bit more of the second. Tighten up.
Make sure you take Slay out certain plays, please.
So I gave y'all the diplomatic version. Diva gave y'all the diva version. But that's what it is. Make sure we got the right personnel, man. Use the personnel correctly. Plays that matter, things that work. You know, if you're gonna put Slay out there, over somebody with an over the top play. If you're gonna have him out there, you got to have a safety back. You're not gonna put a safety back. You can't do it.
Factual. You got to get that man help. Period.
Yeah, he's not the guy he was. You can't see him as the guy he was. You got to give him the help he needs. Now, we've talked a lot about what we didn't do in the game, but Commanders, Giants, Cowboys, really everybody in the NFC but the Lions, remember this.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
So this week, we had to go in on my boy a little bit, AJ and Jalen Hurts. So this is what I want them to be able to say after this next game to us and all the other people that have some things to say about him this week.
Acknowledge me.
Actually.
And you know how you do that. Oh, and Nick Sirianni, don't think I forgot about you. Message directly for you.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
And you're Michael Cole in this situation, sir, just so you're clear.
Right.
Oh, Pittsburgh Steelers, don't think we forgot. Pittsburgh Steelers. Message from Eagles Nation. Message from the team. Message from Jerry Lurie. Message from the new owners. Message from the babies of Eagles fans. The grandparents of Eagles fans. All y'all. That being said, we're going to catch you next week. Right back here live. More Eagles talk. Hopefully it's another winning Wednesday because we've been rocking with 9 straight winning Wednesdays. Let's make it 10. The only team that's won more games than rolling us in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. All we got to do is keep keeping pace. They got to slip up. They got a harder schedule to finish the season, but we got to do our thing too. Ain't no guaranteed wins in the NFL. Make sure you tell 4 people who may or may not like you that you think are your friends and 4 people who may not be your friends. Just because they may not like you doesn't mean they won't like the Eagles Elite podcast and the wonderful comments that you get here. And also, we're switching it up for December. We have family members, sisters, aunts, cousins, friends, whoever, that have lost people in their life, parents, kids, siblings, loved ones, spouses, whoever. Check on your people, talk to your people. It's a difficult time of year. You got Christmas, we just had Thanksgiving, you got New Year's. There's a lot of people who are struggling mentally and they don't have anybody to talk to. And that one call a week, right? That couple of calls a week, that one call or whatever, it's a lot easier than having to put on a black suit or a black dress and go say goodbye for the last time because nobody was there for them. Right? Be there. There's people that need it. Be there for them. That being said, we are done for the week. We will catch you back next week. Limited commercials today. We had a lot to say. We needed to get it out. It'd be like that sometimes. It'd be like that.
See y'all next week.
See
Hopefully with a W.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Hashtag be elite.